morning, everyone. It's Mwelwa from Financial Insight, and I am in Barcelona, Spain for the 2024 Africa Energy Forum. This year's event is being held in Spain, and it just so happens that the Spanish government has been a huge investor in energy. Circa $2 billion that was invested in South Africa's energy needs. So this place offers a very strategic location closer to big capital that will hopefully bring some innovative projects to the African landscape around energy. So I'll be covering this event for the next 4 days. So I'd like you to stay tuned and get to know some of the insights that will be coming from this year's event. One of the things, I'm looking at the program now, it shows that this year they're adding on a few new features, such as the breakfast debates that will be happening every morning, as well as breakfast briefings. And in addition to that, there'll also be closed-door roundtable meetings. So lots of exciting discourse that will be happening at this year's energy event. So I'd like you all to stay tuned to our platforms and get to know. Hello everyone, and welcome to another special episode of the Financial Insight Show. Financial Insight were recently media partners at the Energy Regulation Board's first ever Energy Indaba. And with me is a representative from the Zambia Utilities Association, who's going to tell us a little bit about the association and why they felt that the Energy Indaba was so important. Mr. Hevajen, how are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much for joining us on this particular episode. Now, before we get into details, for people that don't know who you are you able to tell us about who you are and what your role is with the Association of Utilities?
Absolutely. My name is Sylvester Hibajene. I'm the chairperson for the Association of Power Companies of Zambia. This is an association representing private sector players in the power sector in the country. Indaba. Now, obviously, just recently, the Energy Regulation Board held the first ever, Energy Indaba. You attended this particular event naturally because of, your particular role. Are you able to give us an overview of what your key takeaways of that event were? Yes, indeed. I think, first of all, just congratulations to ERB for organizing the first ever Energy Indaba, where a number of participants were in the meeting, and we had a lot of presentations, and a number of our partners were present and made presentations there. Now, in terms of key takeaways, one of them is that there is a clear commitment by all players that never again should we go through this kind of power shortage as a country. We have learned our lesson. We need to make sure that we do our game properly as people, planning, but not just planning, but implementation can never be overemphasized. We must implement what we see as projects that can be viable for the country and can take us out of this quagmire that we are in right now. And another takeaway is basically just the commitment of our members to be creative in finding solutions. For example, we saw or received a presentation by Ndora Energy, where working with the government, they found some creative solutions around the cost of generating power using diesel.
Correct.
And this has now enabled Ndora Energy to actually fire their plants in Ndola, 105 megawatts being pumped in the system, into the Zambia network. So a creative solution was found around that. And I think we can do similar things for other energy sources, which may be deemed expensive. But we think around how we can actually deal with the issue of cost.
Correct.
There could be a solution to that as well.
Correct. Now, it appears that obviously the association is positioning itself to obviously encourage energy diversification. How are the general membership looking at it? Because obviously diversifying away from hydro is obviously the next step.
Thank you very much for that question, and I'm glad to inform the public that actually our members are investing and developing projects in various kinds of energy sources. There are some that are seriously looking at wind development on the Copperbelt and Eastern Province. Some that are looking at solar across the country, and others small hydro, others even thermal power sources, so as to identify, rather to diversify the source of power. But the other area of diversification is actually in terms of location, because most of our power plants right now are in the southern part of the country, which is drought prone. But now we're seeing our members looking northern part of the country, where the rainfall pattern is better. So it may still be hydro, but it's placed in an area of the country where the rainfall is better. So you are more assured that actually, if I put investment in the hydro generation in this area of the country, I'll have enough water to generate electricity. So it's both in terms of the actual energy resource, but also in terms of location. So our members are looking at both sources of diversification.
Right, now for investment obviously to go in, how is the regulatory landscape at this particular stage? We know that the 2019 Electricity Act is obviously governing how players in the energy sector are supposed to perform. Are we in a position now to have solid regulation that's able to encourage investment in energy?
Yes, I think with the coming in of the Electricity Act 2019 and also Energy Regulation Act of 2019, they are quite pro-business. They've opened up the market for private sector players. There is even a provision there for open access, which, as you know, recently the government through cabinet pronounced itself that they've allowed the creation of open access, which means that you can put your power plant wherever in the country. You'll have access to the transmission and distribution system.
Right.
And you pay a wheeling charge, which will be predictable. And the ERB will actually set that tariff. So everybody will know that if I'm to transmit my power through the current existing network, I know what it will cost me. But that means that you can actually have access to an end user, another part of the country, without you being inhibited by anything. So that we see as a very good way to open the market through regulation, because now we can attract more investors to come in the market. They will know that they can access the market wherever they may put their generation plant, as long as there's transmission system available for them. So I think it's really a game changer.
Absolutely. And maybe on a final note, following that particular event, we see now that the ERB is obviously wanting to engage, obviously member organizations such as yourself. What do you see is the outlook looking like, for energy post the first endeavor? Do you see now a lot more activity, as it were, in terms of investment in the energy sector?
Absolutely. What I really expect is an acceleration of investment in the power sector, because we have also seen that not only is there this open access and willingness for the government through ERB and the ministry to open up to allow others to play, but they've actually set up what is called one-stop shop to facilitate developers coming in and getting ease access to what I may call consents, permits, licenses.
Right.
So that instead of dealing with more than 10 government agencies and you have to keep going office to office,
correct,
there's now an online platform. You just apply there as a developer, and all the institutions of government involved in the process of giving you support or consent or permission will automatically receive the application and start working on it. So that should speed, therefore, the time frame for closure of business in terms of reaching financial close. Therefore, you can start developing or building your power plant early and deliver the electricity to the market early. So we believe that we shall see a shortening of the time period. But also platforms like public-private dialogue forum are facilitating. Indeed, even the presidential delivery unit are also on board. So we are seeing things merging or coming to a place or a confluence where facilitation is much more effective and impactful. And therefore, indeed, we begin to see a speedy resolution of all kinds of issues. And indeed, it means that investment will come quicker in the power sector. And really, in my view, next 3 or 4 years, Zambia should be different in terms of the power landscape.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, we'll definitely look forward to that. Now, Mr. Hevajan, thank you so much for talking to us. We hope to engage with you in the next couple of months or weeks for any key developments from your members.
It was a pleasure to be involved in this particular discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. There you have it. You've heard it for yourself. Stay tuned for more insights from the Energy series that is being produced by Financial Insight, and get to know. Mr. Tali, how are you?
Good afternoon.
Yes, it's always a pleasure to meet up with you at the Africa Energy Forum. How have you found the event so far?
Oh, the event has been very good. It's always good to be here at the AEF. It's been very, very, very fruitful.
Absolutely. So this is day 3, and On the first day you had a panel discussion that you were on. Are you able to give us some high-level points in terms of what was discussed?
No, thanks a lot. Look, the closed-door meetings were quite interesting. It allowed parties to discuss pertinent issues, which recognized that essentially our contribution was that recognition that Africa is not one country, it's 54 countries. You can't have one solution for all the countries on the continent. We need to look at the issues that are there in respective countries and address the issues appropriately. We've got different legislation in each of these countries, different energy mixes, and therefore the push for the right generation source for these countries should be identified, and we need to support the countries' growth agendas.
Absolutely. And, so far, obviously, after the 3 days, you've had a lot of sit-down meetings. What have been the type of conversations that you've had, and what are your key takeaways from those conversations?
I'll probably look at it in two ways. The first thing is that as a player in the sector, one of the things that we are pushing for is how can we allow for the lenders, the government, and everyone to look at project development differently. How can we be more innovative, more pragmatic in the way we address project development? Look, the key issue is that various countries on the continent require infrastructure spend, which is quite significant, enormous, and Africa is not short of projects. There are a lot of good projects on the continent. However, what we lack on the continent are well-structured projects which can meet the test of man and an investor, which are bankable. So how do we fast-track and accelerate the bankability of these projects? And I think that's a key takeaway. One of the other things that we discussed pertinently with most of the individuals here is how do we ensure that the adoption of technology is right? How do we ensure that Africa continues to have the latest technology with respect to storage, benefit from the price drops that we've seen on the continent, but also there are a lot more other interconnection lines that are required on the continent. How do we structure and actualize those plans to ensure that those countries that have more competitive power sources can actually sell into countries that do not have the competitive edge that they have?
Absolutely, and obviously there must have also been some excitement after you guys, just recently commissioned your PV plant. What are the conversations around that, and does CEC have any intentions for further expansion into solar projects?
Interesting, you talk about the bond and the solar plant. Look, we celebrated the commissioning, and that is behind us. At this forum, the focus was more around how quickly can we come back to market to ensure that the next bond is subscribed for. So we had intense conversations with the potential lenders, potential EPC contractors on how quickly can we deploy the next round of solar. Added to that, we also progressed conversations with the lenders under our Get Fit programs. How quickly can we deploy that? All these projects, we believe that with the conversations we are having, we should get to financial close within the course of this year, and we should get to commercial operations into next year, which will be a very good achievement, not just for the company, but also for the country and for all the players involved in the process.
Absolutely, and just on a final note, we do understand that obviously in Zambia that there's a bit of a power crisis, and obviously CEC is playing a lead, especially with the commissioning of the plant. How important is it for the country for more projects such as those to be onboarded?
Look, from a country perspective, we definitely have a crisis. We need solutions and urgent solutions, so we can essentially put the solutions into three buckets. We've got the short-term solutions, which require importation and probably introduction of a more expensive power, or whoever has got power in the region, to make sure that that comes to alleviate the deficit. We've got medium-term solutions like the solutions that I was talking about. How can we quickly fast-track and accelerate the development of various projects that are there from different technologies. At CEC we're looking at solar, but there are a lot more other technologies that can be closed within the medium term. In the long term, we've got more long lead type projects, such as technologies from hydro and other baseload type forms. The key issue is can we get started with actualizing all the three buckets that we are looking at now. It's a crisis, and we need all the hands and all the money that we can get from all the private players to help address the crisis that we have in country.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much for speaking to us. We look forward to engaging you further as we close AEF tomorrow.
Thank you so much, and pleasure talking to you.
Absolutely. There you have it. We are at the CEC stand at AEF in Barcelona. Stay tuned for more insights and get to know.
Yes, the Copperbelt Energy Corporation, as you rightly put it, has been around for quite a long time. Actually, 1950s, that's when it was created. Brainchild of the mining industry. Because in those days, each mine had its own small power plant. And if something happened with the supply of power, then they were stranded. So they decided to actually come together, link up the various power plants that they had, and form a company, which now is called Copperbelt Energy Corporation. And the name, of course, speaks to the fact that we supply power to the mines, which mine copper in Zambia. So it's part of the country where copper mining has been going on for a long, long time. And yes, so we own that transmission system. We've been building it over time, extending it. Whenever there's a new mine in the area, we extend the line. But what really has anchored all this investment is long-term agreements with customers. Just like Motrako, kind of we have an anchor customer, 15 years, 20 years power supply agreement with them, and they are credible off-taker. So, you know, it's a good, predictable business. And so in that context, you're able to invest. And in our situation, because the kinds of mines that are operating that part of the country, a number of them are very, very deep and wet. So you need to supply fail-safe power, guaranteed power. So we have a very dense transmission network or system and distribution to the mines, such that we have more than one line to each mine. In case one goes down, automatically the other one should take up the load to ensure that workers underground are safe, operations are secured, and you can have the mines operating viably for a long, long haul. So what we've been doing, of course, over time is that we didn't have enough generation ourselves. We've been buying for the national utility, ZESCO, and supplying our customers. And the cost for operating the infrastructure has basically been covered by the agreements with the mines. So they meet the cost of us operating and running the infrastructure over the long haul. We have seen in our country that government, because they want to see investments in the sector, creating a forum called Public-Private Dialogue Forum, where the private sector meet with all kinds of government agencies and discuss issues that need to be resolved to make investment quicker, easier, and more attractive. So some of the things it has to do with the speed of decision making by government agencies, whether it be environmental agency, authority, or whoever has to give you a permit. So the timelines are being squeezed to facilitate investment. The other area being looked at is the fees that we have to pay as a private sector to get the permit given to you. They've been quite exorbitant. And so we are saying they're making the projects expensive unnecessarily when we are so much critically in need of power. So those are being also revised downward. But because there's political will at the highest level, these things are being done. Without it, it's very difficult to get improvements. Permitting, yes, is challenging, but when the political will and an arrangement is created for actually pinpointing where the issues are and resolving them, everybody coming to the party, that is helpful quite a lot.
Hi, it's Mwelwa, and this is day 4 at Africa Energy Forum, the final day of the 2024 edition of the Africa Energy Forum in Barcelona, Spain. I've been covering this particular event on behalf of Financial Insight. This year's event obviously brought together key stakeholders from the investment community, for 4 days of dialogue around how they can get projects off the ground. Particular issue was around transmission. I attended one panel discussion, which was really exciting, about how transmission projects can actually spur more generation financing to be released. For me, Mwelwa at the 2024 edition in Barcelona of AEF. Stay tuned for more insights and get to know.